What's going on with the ticks? Are they being engineered to be more aggressive and go after people? Are they being dropped from planes on farmers' property across the nation? Are we becoming engineered to have meat allergies from these ticks so the globalists can stop us from eating cows and causing climate change and make us eat the bugs? I will say, in my research into this subject, there's definitely some sketchy stuff going on, in my opinion. There's red flags there, but with the nature of the social media hive mind and the nature of influencers, they tend to jump to conclusions about things and sensationalize stories. I think there is a lot of noise out there, clickbait out there around this issue right now on the internet, but I think there's some red flags. So we'll begin here. It's definitely a bad tick season. In videos I've done this week, live streams, I've asked the chat if wherever they live, they've noticed an uptick in ticks, and particularly on the East Coast, Northeast, Kentucky, Tennessee, people are saying, yeah, definitely there's a lot more ticks. And statistics show that indeed, media is even reporting on it, tick season is the worst in a decade. CDC reported on this a month ago. Data shows weekly ER visits for tick bites is higher than usual. So we do have concrete evidence to show that it's a bad tick season for some reason or another. Media is trying to blame climate change. Others are floating theories that ticks are being genetically modified and possibly even dropped on people's properties. I don't know about that. We'll get to these videos in a minute. But the theory going around the internet is genetically engineered ticks are being released onto the public to give them diseases, basically. Representative Tim Burchett. I like Burchett. I think he's a dadgum good dude. He was on Joe Rogan last week floating the theory that it was Bill Gates behind the ticks. Now, I will say, this is not confirmation. This is not evidence or proof. It is just conjecture from Tim Burchett on Joe Rogan's podcast. I'm seeing some people claiming it's a confirmation. No, it's not a confirmation. But a lot of people are thinking it's Big Belly Billy. Maha's latest conspiracy, blaming Bill Gates for the spike in tick bites. Mainstream media, of course, using this as a easy attack vector for going after Maha and official narrative questioners, I suppose you could say, the conspiracy theorists. Now, understandably, people are blaming Bill Gates because Bill Gates tries to genetically engineer any life form he can get his nerdy little hands on. For many decades, he's been funding the engineering of our food and, of course, funding the engineering of vaccines. And then usually it's Africa that the Gates Foundation, through NGOs they fund, push their testing of the GMO food and vaccines. And then if it works out the way they want, then they'll try to bring it to public market here in the States. But whether it's food, vaccines, mosquitoes, over the last few years, Gates Foundation funding research into genetically engineered mosquitoes, which I believe they have released recently in Florida and over on the East Coast. So naturally, people are going to blame Bill Gates. We have no direct evidence to show it was Bill Gates, so let's set that baseline. What we do have is confirmation, this is, public knowledge, that the Gates Foundation is funding a company called Flitter Limited out of the UK to genetically engineer cattle ticks. Now, cattle ticks are not the ticks that are spreading the alpha-gal syndrome, that is the Lone Star tick, but the Gates Foundation has funded research into ticks. But granted, this was out of the UK and not the Lone Star tick. So that needs to be said. Also, another data point here, this company, Flitter Limited, they used to be called Oxitec. And Oxitec was actually the company that was doing the research into the mosquitoes that the Gates Foundation funded. So the Gates Foundation has funded this company for a variety of insect engineering projects. Years ago, they were called Oxitec, but I think due to the bad publicity around the GMO mosquitoes, they decided to rebrand to Flitter Limited about 2 to 3 years ago. So same company out of the UK doing the mosquitoes as the cattle ticks, but not the Lone Star tick. Now, a lot of people also realizing that Pfizer is trying to come out with a Lyme disease vaccine. Obviously separate from the meat allergy, alpha-gal syndrome, Lyme disease, but regardless, both of those diseases coming from ticks. And 2 months ago, Pfizer announced that they are now in phase 3 trials for their Lyme disease vaccine. This is not an mRNA vaccine. Just want to make that known. But it is a Lyme disease vaccine. How convenient. 2 months ago, now in phase 3 trials, the last stage of trials before it could come to market. And Lyme disease in the news right now as well. So, for some of these data points, we don't have concrete evidence like showing Bill Gates funded the engineering of the ticks that are causing alpha-gal syndrome. We don't have direct evidence that boxes of ticks are being dropped on ranchers' properties. Let's play these videos before we move forward with the conversation.
I'm out here mushroom hunting, and I found, there it is right there, the tick box. I'm not going to touch it because there's ticks all over that thing. I know there is. Look at them crawling out of it. Millions of them. You can see the tick.
Not going to touch it, but he kicked it. And then here's a video that people are alleging on social media is boxes of ticks being dropped on ranchers' properties. I don't know where this video is taken from. And also of note, I don't hear any engine noise from what would supposedly be a helicopter or a plane. Point being here, I think these are being misconstrued or blown out of proportion. I don't think these are boxes of ticks because logistically and realistically, if some deep state group wanted to deploy ticks onto the public, they would probably do it in a much more covert way than dropping them from a plane. A lot more covert ways to do that. Also, no engine noise in this video. Also, in this video, that looks like ants, quite honestly. Those don't look like ticks to me. And this looks like a box that might be actually capturing insects, not releasing them. But anyway, to me, these videos are not really good evidence. But we do have a rise in alpha-gal syndrome. But we do know, going back to Lyme disease at least, that this has been going around underground conspiracy community for many years. But more recently, we've had declassified CIA documents admitting that yes, in the 60s, the CIA was dropping ticks from planes over Cuba and I think certain areas of the U.S. Here's Dr. Robert Malone speaking about this.
Yes, it's actually in CIA documents that have been declassified. For instance, infected ticks were deployed from C-130s flying low over sugarcane fields in Cuba back in the day under President Kennedy. There is abundant evidence of the field testing of infected ticks and other insects in a variety of settings in the United States. And
so what's being painted here is a lot of circumstantial evidence. Not direct, but circumstantial evidence showing that something sketchy is going on with the ticks. And the huge rise in alpha-gal syndrome. Alpha-gal syndrome is the syndrome that causes meat allergy. And in Arkansas, in Pennsylvania, local news reports from over the past week, yes, cases of alpha-gal syndrome are going up significantly. And then this study just came out from the American Journal of Gastroenterology, explosive rise in alpha-gal syndrome, real-world analysis. And as you can see here, started rising about 10 years ago, a little bit, but over the past 5 years, exponential increase in meat allergies just over the past 4 years, almost a, fourfold increase from there to there. So big rise in alpha-gal syndrome, big rise in ticks. Don't know if those are actual boxes of ticks being dropped. Don't know if Bill Gates is funding any research into the Lone Star ticks. Granted, he has funded research into the cattle tick in the past. And then we do know that Lyme disease, at least, was likely spread as a bioweapon. So picture being painted here. Another data point is that we've got globalists and creepy scientists literally suggesting inducing meat allergy into humans to stop getting them to eat meat and help the planet. So they claim. This guy here, about 3 months ago, he's associated with the World Economic Forum, of course, eat the bugs people. And he suggested doing exactly that.
So I'll give two examples. So one is that people eat too much meat, right? And if they were to cut down on their consumption on meat, then they would it would actually really help the planet. But people are not willing to give up meat. Yeah, some people will be willing to, but other people, they may be willing to, but they have a weakness of will. They say, wow, this steak is just too juicy. I can't do it. I'm one of those, by the way. So, but so here's the thought, right? So it turns out that we know a lot about, we have these intolerance to, for example, I have milk intolerance. And some people are intolerant to crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of
something we can do through human engineering. I tell you what, I have an intolerance to the World Economic Forum sick fucks. And this guy doesn't look like he's ever eaten a steak in his life. I call BS on that one. In addition, last year, scientists from the Western Michigan University School of Medicine literally wrote a paper called Beneficial Blood Sucking, where they argued that it is morally obligatory to genetically engineer ticks to spread the alpha-gal syndrome and give people meat allergy. They said we got to do it to save the planet and get people to stop eating meat. They called it a moral bioenhancer, and they frame it as similar to a vaccine, but it's even better than a vaccine because it's the ticks doing it instead of a government official holding you down. That is some amazing mental gymnastics. I have no words for that. Some of these scientists are just some sick, creepy bastards. So, okay. Got some creepy folks out there that do want to give people meat allergies. We do have meat allergies increasing. We've got big tick upticks. Don't know if they're being dropped on people's properties or if Gates is actually funding the Lone Star, but something sketchy's going on. Now, the last video I'm going to play here, our last data point, is an alleged whistleblower from Canada. I've got some thoughts on this one. I'm not totally sold on it, but I just want to report on it for painting the map's sake.
So this forum post, and I'm going to put it directly on the screen, and I'm going to read it word for word. It says this, quote, I work for a private charter company in Ontario, Canada. The company handles booking and chartering flights across Ontario mainly. We are paid to spread ticks by air. It happens twice a year, early spring and early fall. This year, we've been hired to do it earlier. The company receives the ticks in boxes. Each box contains millions of ticks. The aircraft used are generally single or dual prop aircraft, single pilot, and one other passenger that handles the dispersal. It pays a lot, and I mean a lot. Generally, the ticks are dispersed in several specific regions in Ontario, and it's always the same regions each and every year. Thus far. Last spring, the ticks dispersed were mostly American dog ticks. This year, they are all deer ticks, supposedly specifically bred to withstand cold temperatures. End quote. So that post was from March 16th.
So, a few things about this. I don't know what forum or where that was posted. It was not 4chan, but I have not found a link to that exact post anywhere. I've just found this video reporting on it. I would like to find a link to that post. Second, I think the word whistleblower is thrown around far too liberally. We don't know if this guy's legit or telling the truth or anything. We don't even know who it is, so we can't use the term whistleblower here. It's just allegation claim, and there's a bajillion of those on social media. But going over to just researching Ontario ticks, yes, there is an uptick in ticks there, and just over the past day, many Ontario news outlets have been reporting on heavy tick presence. Tick season is here. Wave of ticks en route to Ontario. Ontario's tick problem is getting bigger, experts warn. So, issues up there apparently. explosion of ticks. Notice that he did mention, or the claim from the forum post was that they're dropping or engineering deer ticks now, so not the Lone Star tick. A few different kinds of ticks we're talking about in this video: cattle tick, Lone Star, deer tick. It's the Lone Star that we are focusing on, at least in regards to alpha-gal syndrome. But just a data point I wanted to share. Is this one true? Don't know. Got to throw that in the maybe, maybe not box. Are these tick drops true? Don't know with that one as well. That's creepy. That's definitely happening. And that's definitely happening. Just don't know if Bill Gates is behind it, if there's any genetic engineering or sketchy stuff behind it. So that's basically the picture being painted here. We'll see how it progresses in the coming weeks. If we get any more information, I will add it to the map. And one thing I want to leave you with is, if you are trying to protect yourself or repel the ticks, this video is going quite viral right now, and it is of pungent essential oil. So any kind of pungent essential oil, tea tree, peppermint, neem, blackseed, oregano, work very well at helping repel ticks. You can see this little guy here does not want to be anywhere near these pungent essential oils. And the one I want to highlight is oregano oil, because I sell it. If you would like to promote this show, promote my work, you can go check out Contra Strength Oil of Oregano. I'll leave a link in the description below. And the reason why I love oregano oil specifically, and why I brought it into my brand, is because not only is it a pungent insect repelling oil, but it is great antifungal. So on the skin, psoriasis, eczema, athlete's foot, in the body, helping candida, kill candida. It's a strong antibacterial. So if you have any sinus infection, cold, flu, cough coming on, few drops of this under your tongue every few hours can help wipe out a cold, cough, sinus infection. And it's anti almost everything. It's amazing stuff. It's great to have in your medicine cabinet, supplement cabinet, put it in your prepper's bag. And if you're trying to repel ticks with it, you can just rub it on your lower leg or your ankles when you're going out hiking, doing anything out in the yard, and it'll help keep the ticks off your ankles. Now, I do put this oregano oil in a little bit of a carrier oil, so it's not 100%. It'd be way too strong if it was 100% oregano oil. It is in a carrier oil to make it palatable, a little bit easier to take, ingest, use, but still very potent, strong, effective stuff. Again, I'll leave a link down below. Oils ticks hate, oregano being one of them. So there you go, guys. Be careful of them creepy ticks out there. On that note, I think I'm gonna go eat a steak tonight. Take care, guys.